You got that first date you've been dying for. The person in the cubicle next to you, or the cutie at the coffee shop, or the person that sits 6 rows in front of you in class. You got that first date. Okay, now that you've finished your happy dance, you need to sit down and think about this for a minute. There is quite a decent list of no-nos for that first date. Things that you want to make sure that you avoid. Firstly, let's go with the basics, just standard manners. What did your mother teach you? Do not belch, do not fart, do not pick your nose, don't spit, and largely also do not chew with your mouth open. It is not cute at all, it's downright nasty, and do not pull the seafood joke, okay? You know what I'm talking about, the one that says, hey, do you like seafood? And the person goes, oh yeah, and you're, seafood, blah. Also, don't get drunk. It's just not a good idea. Sometimes people like to avoid alcohol on the first date just to, make sure that doesn't happen, because there are people who can't control themselves. Once you start throwing back a few, you can't stop. Okay, if you're one of those, avoid drinks at all. But otherwise, if you're not, try really hard not to get drunk, because otherwise you'll be stumbling home or doing God knows what you shouldn't be doing. It's not a good idea at all, unless there's only one time you are ever allowed to get drunk on a date, like on a first date, is when this date is going horribly, horribly, horribly wrong. Okay, horribly wrong, and you need to get drunk just to get through it. Then it might be a little bit okay. As well as the basic, I guess it's a courtesy thing now, especially with all the new stupid laws and everything. Don't smoke. If you're a smoker, pretend you're not for a night, or maybe bring it up in conversation or something, but don't take a smoke break, okay? That's not cool, because if your date's not a smoker and you come back stinking like smoke, they're just gonna want to go home. They're not gonna want to kiss you. They're gonna think of the whole kissing an ashtray thing. It's not okay. But if your date is also a smoker, it's something you can bond over. Speaking of stinky breath, avoid smelly foods such as tuna, garlic, onions, because onions smell like BO. I mean, let's face it. As delicious as some people may think they might be, they kind of smell like BO. Truth hurts. So avoid the stinky foods, okay? Because after a while they'll start coming out your pores, and then you'll start to smell stinky just like that food, or they'll, just your breath alone. I mean, unless you have an army of breath mints, deodorant, and cologne / perfume, whatever gender you may be or whatever you prefer to wear. Unless you have an army of those things combined, do not have those things to eat, because you'll just get yourself in a world of trouble. Also, very, very important, girls, do not forget to shave your legs. I mean, I guess unless it's like the middle of winter and you're wearing long pants. No, you know what? No, forget that. It's not even okay to not shave your legs on a first date, even if you're like completely covered up, because you never know what's gonna happen at the end of the date. What if the date goes so well that you want to get with this guy? Okay, you're gonna want to have smooth legs. But unless you're one of those like tree hugging, non-leg shaving girls and your guy is into that, then it's okay. But be on the safe side and shave your legs. Just do us all a favor, especially those girls who wear like the mini skirts or the shorts or whatever it may be, what you're gonna wear, especially if it shows your legs. No prickle, no hair. I don't even want like this morning's hair. You shave just before you walk out that damn front door if you want anything to go well. Also, once you haven't smoked, and you haven't eaten that sticky food, and you haven't drank, and you haven't burped or farted or belched or anything, and remembered to shave your legs, then you're going to wish that you brought condoms. Because, okay, it's not classy to have sex on a first date. It's never classy. But sometimes shit happens, And then, what happens, right? You get into bed or whatever it may be, the kitchen counter, or the back of the, bathroom at the gas station, you're gonna need a condom. Because first of all, you don't know this person. You don't know what they may or may not have. Be safe. And second of all, no babies. Who wants a baby from a first date? Not cute. Okay. And it's just a good idea to have them on you just in case. Even if you don't plan on using them, just bring them. Just have them ready. Be prepared. Maybe the person next to you is gonna get laid at the end of the night. The guy having a date in the booth next to you. Maybe they'll thank you nicely for giving them a condom. Okay, just bring it with you. It's a good idea. Never, ever on the first date talk about meeting their parents. Oh, my mom would love you. It's like, that's a little weird. Okay, I mean, I guess on occasion it's okay, you know, if you talk about, you know, I love making lasagna, and oh my god, and then the person says, oh yeah, my mom loves lasagna too, and that's about as far as it can go. Don't offer to meet the parents on the first time or make any kind of plans. It's scary. Okay, it freaks us out and makes you think that you're like all about your parents or like a mama's boy or like a daddy's girl. Even if you are, that's okay. Just don't let it show on the first date. You know, so most of the times people are okay with that. I'm a daddy's girl. Oh my god, I'm a daddy's girl. But you know, I don't make that super obvious on a first date. Needless to say, I haven't been on a first date in like a year and a half. But I mean, just don't do it. Also, do not talk about marriage. Okay. Just don't do it. It's not a good idea because you're gonna scare that person away and make them think that you're basically sitting there judging them onto whether or not you can marry them. And I know that the whole point of dating is to see whether or not you can marry somebody, but just don't. And also, don't talk about babies. I mean, if someone walks by with a baby, you can go, oh, look at that cute baby, and then you leave it at that. Okay? Don't talk about having babies together, or we would make such beautiful babies. Needless to say, you should avoid any talk about your exes, whether they were great and you were the one who was dumped and you're so depressed, or they were completely awful and you dumped that son of a bitch or that asshole or whatever it is. You dumped them or they dumped you, whatever it is. Don't bring up your exes, okay? Even if it is, oh yeah, my ex is like the owner of Nike and blah, blah, blah. It's like, don't bring it up, okay? Because then they're going to think that you haven't gotten over it yet, or they're going to sit there and wonder, why aren't we talking about me? You know, I don't want to talk about your ex. I don't know. And then, you know, if you're bashing on your ex, you're going to think, oh my god, you know, you can't get over it, or just don't do it. Also, if you have kids, be sure to mention them. I mean, just 1 or 2 sentences. Oh, by the way, I have a son. He's 4. His name is so-and-so. And that's it. Stop right there. Don't go any further, okay? Unless they continue to ask, you know, they ask, oh yeah, that's great. What does he like to do? Blah, 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 whatever it may be. Okay? If they continue to ask, you can answer a couple of questions, but then change the subject onto something else. Because you don't want to be stuck on the talk about your kids, or what if this person doesn't want to be around kids? Okay? But you bring up your kids, so you inform them, but they understand that your kid is not your whole life. Even if it is. Okay? Because I understand people get really attached to their children, and that's great. That's fine. That means you love your kids. That's fabulous. But don't talk about your kids constantly on a first date. It scares people away. Don't flirt with other people while you're on this date. I mean, don't flirt with the waiter or the waitress. You know, don't make sexy eyes. Don't, you know, flirt with the bartender. Don't, you know, if you're waiting in line for something, you make a new friend. That's fine. You can talk to the people around you. I mean, don't, you know, keep your focus on your date, but don't flirt with other people. Okay? That just shows that you're a player. And I'm a player hater. Okay? Playa hater. Don't do it. I do not want to go on a date with you and watch you flirt with that trashy girl on the opposite side of the bar. I don't need that shit, okay? Don't one-up me. I don't appreciate that at all. At all. I mean, don't get into that conversation, you know. Oh, you went skydiving? That's nothing. I once landed a jumbo jet using only my left butt cheek. Are you impressed? Don't one-up them. Standard procedure with a date, do not text or make a phone call at all. I mean, unless it's like an absolute emergency, and I mean, I don't know, whatever emergency you may have, it's okay if it's like an emergency. But don't check in with your fancy little Android phone, you know. Oh my god, everybody on Facebook, guess where I am? You know? No, don't do that! Okay? Because then that person, if they have you on Facebook or Twitter or whatever the hell you may have, if they have you on there and see that you checked in during the date, they're gonna think, you know, oh my god, they had better things to do. Same concept with texting and phone calls. They're not gonna feel like that, you know, you're paying attention to them. They're gonna think that, you know, you're bored or you don't want to be there. You have things that are better to do than that. You don't want to give off that impression. That'll just ruin your first date completely, and then those condoms you brought with you won't come in handy. Lastly, and very, very important, don't take your date to a strip club. Just don't do it, okay? Whether it may be like a guys are dancing strip club or the girls are dancing, or don't take them to a strip club. That's not classy at all. And then they're gonna think that you're a sex crazed horn dog, or you're not creative enough to come up with something better, or whatever it may be. Or they don't want someone's junk in their face, jiggling and like all this stuff. I don't want that on my first date. I want to sit there and I want to be paying attention to you. I do not want to have to tip the person jiggling their junk in my face. I don't want that at all. So there's a little list of things that you need to make sure that you don't do on a first date. They're very important. They're pretty standard. Most people know these things. It's pretty obvious, unless you're still like thick-headed, that you can't get that into your mind. But it's pretty obvious. But there you go. Keep these things in mind. If you want, write them down, so that you can remember on this date. Keep a little note in your pocket, or, hide something in your shirt. Just remember these things. They're very, very important. And this also means that there are other things that you should not do on a first date. I didn't list everything. There are plenty of things in the world you should not do on a first date, like road rage. Do not rear end somebody. Do not get pissed. Do not flip them off. Do not, any of that. But pretty standard stuff. Just, yeah, okay? Yeah! Don't do this stuff on a first date. Nobody will like it. Nobody will like you. Okay? So go out on that first date and you make sure you kick ass and you get that second date. Also, just because this is on a list of things to do on a first date doesn't mean you get to do them on later dates. Okay? Unless you're like dating this person and things are going really well and you start to learn more about them and they start to love you for who you are. Yeah. Okay? So just, these are non-date okay things at all. So go on that first date, you enjoy it, and you make sure you do everything right to ensure that you can get that second date.